Boom. Yes, okay. Okay.
And then I have the beer got two. Yes. College got two.
Perfect. Perfect.
And you don't need to talk about it, I talk to you. Okay, it's that time on Wednesdays that we have new knowledge. I see some new faces today, so welcome if this is your first time. I'm excited about this one because if you don't know me, I kind of like social media and using technology to promote your business. So I'm delighted that we have Valentina Escobar Gonzalez here with Beyond Engagement. She came to us today from Johnson City. This is probably about the fourth or fifth time that she's been here to share her knowledge in social media. And I'll let her tell a little bit more about herself, but before she gets started, I would like for everyone to turn your devices off or silence them so that we won't interrupt. And that'll also, for those that are viewing online, for Facebook, welcome. And don't forget, at the end of the session today, there's an evaluation. This is important to us because probably about April, we'll be scheduling other workshops through 2018 and early 2019, so your input and feedback of what additional training we can do is important to us. This is a collaborative effort with Virginia Community Capital. I'm Sandy Ratliff, by the way, with Virginia Community Capital. This is a collaboration with VCC, the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Anita Farmer's here in the back, and also the Virginia Highland Small Business Incubator, and Jennifer Davidson is here, and I'm sure Kathy will be watching it online tonight when she can sit down. So thank you. Strap down because you're going to be hit with a lot. So I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I really appreciate that warm welcome. I love coming to Abingdon because I just get out of the car and I just smell so many delicious foods here. It's hard to come to Abingdon because it's just so amazing. I love being here. I've been in business for 6 years. Again, my name is Valentina. Just simply Valentina. You don't have to remember the other half of my name. And I love doing social media. I love working with small businesses. I get a high teaching my customers and clients about social media because social media is a struggle. Every day something changes and we're constantly on our toes. So I try to help my clients learn social media so they spend less time struggling and more time with their customer to potentially increase sales. So as simple as that. So again, let's get started very quickly. I love knowing a little bit more about everyone. And if we can just get started with the name, business, and just very quickly, what are you here for specifically? And just very quickly, so we'll get started with Sonia here.
Hi, my name is Sonia. I work at the Higher Education Center. I'm here to stay current on social media because it's changing every day and I'm just trying to keep up with the curve.
I'm Fallon Ray, graphic designer for Food City. I'm here primarily just for myself, though. I do custom art and commissions and things like that. Eventually, I want to be more serious about monetizing it.
Can I interrupt you, Brave? Can you tell Jean I say hi?
Yes.
Please, I love her.
Okay. Yes. Back to
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Bob Thomas, Renewable Energy Center. I specialize in small sustainable dwellings. I need some new tips.
Okay, come in. Thank you so much.
I'm Cindy Fields. I'm the director with the Small Business Development Center. And I was here last month and wanted to hear some.
I know, I'm on my toes because you're here today.
I'm Josie with Second Harvest, and I am here to learn from the best.
Thank you. Disclosure, I'm on the board for Second Harvest,
Yeah.
so for the food bank. And there's a big event coming up on Saturday. Yes,
Junior League food drive.
yes.
Yes.
At Food City.
Yes.
Yes, perfect, all right.
I'm Brianna Vance. I'm the marketing director for the 15 companies here in Abingdon, and I'm here to just learn a little bit in person because it's very rare that I get to come to an in-service for people.
Perfect.
I'm Emily. I'm from Gibson Service Center in town. Just learned some tricks, some tips on social media.
Okay, perfect.
I'm William Gibson, I'm the owner of Gibson Service Center, and Emily's doing a fine job for me. She's heading up on social media, Instagram,
Perfect.
Facebook, and all, and that's why, hopefully, you know, I just let she's already pretty swift, so she's gonna be.
Oh my goodness, you're on your toes now.
I'm Ashley Smith with Cornerstone Christian Academy here in Abingdon, and we are currently paying someone to
Yes.
do some social media stuff for us,
So
so we
you're-
would like to.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you're trying to learn so you can keep her on her toes or him on their toes, whoever's doing the social media.
And I'm Ainsley Cook, I'm the development director at Cornerstone Christian Academy. So we dabble a little bit in Instagram, more so Facebook, just a little more.
So is it more about like the sales side of things and trying to get more people, more,
Just awareness and
Okay.
recruitment of students and just helping to communicate with parents as well.
perfect,
So a little
perfect.
of everything.
We'll have to follow up because I do, my bread and butter is Facebook advertisements.
Okay.
So I will be talking about them very lightly,
Okay.
but stay tuned, yes. I love your vest, it's like a fuchsia, so I'm gonna pick on you, so you'll be next.
I'm Lori Carlton. I work for a law firm in Abingdon, Radigan & Baker, and we are just kind of trying to start using social media more to reach out to potential clients and current clients. So
Okay, what platforms are you currently
we
using?
use Facebook right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good.
Dale Craig with Appalachian Sustainable Development. We're an agricultural support group here just right down the road. And I've been to several of these and always very enjoyable, so learn a lot.
Perfect. I see your ads on Facebook, so you're doing a good job. Or someone that works somewhere there.
That would be best.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I'm Director of Communications and Development at Appalachian Sustainable Development. And as a local nonprofit with really limited resources, we need to do a better job with social media. So we're currently on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and rolling out a new website mid-month. And so we want to kind of make sure that we're just leveraging all those resources as best we can.
Okay, perfect.
I'm Oscar Harris. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm looking to kind of promote my wares in the modern world. I'm a dinosaur struggling, so.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm Brian Gallitz. I'm a chiropractor here at Chiropractic First in Abingdon, and I feel like I know social media fairly well, but feel like I could get better at it and learn more details. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm Diane Kirchner with Tri-State Security in Bristol, Virginia. And sort of like you said, I know on social media somewhat more personally, so I want to learn more about it from the business world.
Okay, perfect.
I'm Andrew Flinger. I'm also with Ryan Lang at the law firm, and I just go with what she said, trying to figure out more social media ways to get our name out there.
What do you do versus what she does?
We're both legal assistants, but we just kind of work in different
Okay.
areas.
Because it's always interesting for me to know what specific role you have at the law firm. Yeah, perfect. Good.
And I'm Nina Farmer with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, and we're always looking for new ways to promote our services.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, I'm going to get started on the
Wait,
presentation.
I wanted to mention,
Oh.
online with us is Eva Bowley with Adventure Mendota, and she says she's watching in her PJs, but loves the opportunity to expand.
That's funny. Well, let me get started. I have a hard stop at 1 o'clock. I have to pick up my children in Johnson City at 2. So I have business cards here because I'm going to go pretty fast. I warn you, I always say that I'm from Miami, so I talk loud and fast. And I usually warn people to have a cup of coffee before they come to my presentation. So I have my business cards here if you have any questions. So let's get started here. 81% of people make a purchase decision based on what their friends are saying on Facebook or in any social media platform. So it's very important imperative to have a right strategy when it comes to social media. This presentation might be a little bit too basic for some of you compared to what she went to. We went to a Facebook Power Editor super advanced workshop. It was a 2-hour workshop, the one that she attended, so this was super advanced. So we're going to go with a very basic presentation today, but there'll be some things that I cover that a lot of people still don't know about when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. So like I said, having a plan is very important. I call my business Beyond Engagement because engagement to me is social media. You're engaging with your audiences. Long gone are the days when you would put an advertisement in a newspaper or in a magazine and wait for your customers to show up. Now we have to work for our customers. We have to create a dialogue. We have to do a lot of extensive research to provide content to engage with our audiences. So social media is a quick response. They say that 70% of people want a response within an hour when they post or comment on social media. So let's have a plan here. I always say, what are your goals? Do you want more sales? Of course, we all want more sales. We all want to make money, but what do we want to do to get that? Do we want to have more impressions? Do we want more people visiting our site? Do we want more people just engaging with our brand? I always say, do you want to entertain, inform, or educate your audiences? When you have that plan, who's going to be doing the social media? It's going to be Josie. That's her designated job at Second Harvest. That's all she does. Or are you going to split it with someone else, like the law firm that's here? Are you going to be managing someone over their social media? So that's something to think about. Do you have to equip yourself with the latest technologies because you're going to hand it over to someone else who'll be doing it on a day-to-day basis? How much time are you going to allocate to social media? I always use my Friday afternoons as downtime to schedule future updates. That's a slow time for me on Friday afternoon, so I always schedule future updates for the next week or so on Friday afternoons. So a lot of people set up a Facebook page and they haven't updated their About section in quite some time. When was the last time you really looked at your About section? Does it really resonate with your brand? Did you add a new location? Did you have a new phone number? Do you have a new product, a new service? When was the last time you really looked at your About section and filling out your album? A lot of people have an office in a big building. Like, I'm assuming most law firms are in this crazy big building. You have to say it's the 3rd floor to the right, past the fountain. So how do they get to find out where you are? So you have to explain that in your About section using visuals. So if you're in one of these crazy buildings, having a photo album, actually what the building looks like, how to get to it, what's around it. And then start adding likes. So for example, when it comes to nonprofits, people, major donors, major sponsors, people that are always informing and engaging with your brand. So having likes and engaging with your neighboring businesses. How many times do I see businesses say, hey, I don't even like the page next to it, the business next to us. So if someone comes to their business and they need something, you have to be top of mind. Everything that I preach is top of mind versus sales pitching. So that's why I'm liking my biggest influencers, people that like my page, people that are clients of mine, people that always talk good about me and share my events. I'm always liking their stuff. I feel like if I scratch your back, you'll scratch my back. So I always try to keep that concept going on. So one thing that Facebook did last January, is they started creating a template page. So what this does is it makes sure that your Facebook page is optimized relevant to what business you are. So if you're a brick and mortar, if you're a nonprofit organization, or if you provide a service like I do, I'm a consultant, I'm a marketing consultant, it optimizes your Facebook page to show off whatever it is that you do. So for example, as a service business that I'm in, I have my Facebook reviews show up prominently on the top, so people, when they're making a decision if they want to work with me, they look at my reviews first. So you can really have a drop-down menu and move things around. So I always suggest going to this, and this is in the settings section. So if you go on the right-hand side of your Facebook page, it says settings, and then if you were to go to the left-hand side, you go to edit page, and when you go to edit page, you go to templates, and then you can just change it to whatever business you are. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about with Facebook, the templated pages. So trends, a lot of people are like, Valentina, what's the latest thing, new year, new concepts, what are we going to do with their social media? So one thing that I keep seeing and I keep preaching about is videos. I, for one, hate being in front of a camera But if you really want to get out there, you have to push yourself. And that's what I've been doing lately. I've been doing videos. And that's one of the top things, if you see the chart there, is people are consuming videos more than anything else. This is pretty dated. It's from March, but it's showing you how much more growth there is with Facebook, how many more people are actually seeing videos on Facebook. So they say, and they suggest to upload videos natively. So what that means is you don't do a Vimeo or a YouTube link. You actually take the time to upload it straight to Facebook. You don't share a link. So another thing that you have to do is create albums. So if you're highlighting a product or service and how to demonstrate how to use your product or service, like for example, in the security business, I'm assuming people are trying to install their gadgets or something. So how do you do that? That's some sort of idea to do with that. If you're sharing stuff from other pages, so for example, you partner with someone or you do something with them, sharing their posts, sharing their videos onto your page. They say the tip is that live videos get more traction than videos that are dated. So just keep that in mind when it comes to doing videos. For the people that are very analytical, that need to see data and need to report to someone the data, when you look at your insights, just keep this in mind that 3 seconds counts as a view when it comes to video. And the optimal length is a minute, but think about it like this. We have the attention span of about 7 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. Shorter is better, so keep that in mind. So a lot of people are like, Valentina, you know, I maybe consider doing videos, but I really want to focus on the customers that I have. I'm getting so many messages, or I want to cater to my audiences. I want to be responsive, because that kind of scared me what you said, that 70% of people want a response within an hour. So how do you stay informed and engaged with your current audiences? One thing that Facebook also came out with last year, the beginning of last year, was these away messages. And they could be a great thing for you if you receive so many messages. Or if you're away, like right now, you're not going to respond to someone that left you a message on Facebook because you're here with me, right? So what you do is you have an away message. And if you were to go to settings again, and you go to the page all the way to the left, and there's messaging. When you click on messaging, you have 3 different types of away messages. And it's very clear and concise what they mean, but essentially it is, and this is why you have to have your About section optimized and up to date. So let's say you're open from 8 to 5, and someone messages you at 5:01. They get a message, and you can actually customize it and say, hi, first name. So, hi, Susie, we are closed for the day, but really encourage you to visit our blank website. You can actually insert your website, you can insert your email address, you can insert your phone number. So that's a way for someone to communicate with you. And you can put their first name or last name if you prefer. You can send an instant reply. So if someone messages you at noon and you're open from 8 to 5, but you're here with me right now, they get a different type of away message. Or if someone were to come to your page for the first time ever, they get an instant greeting. And like I said, you can just press yes, no, and then you can customize how you want the message to show up. Usually I have a baker or someone that does cupcakes for a living in the audience, but I always joke around and say, you can put a custom away message saying, hi Susie, our hands are covered with flour and the keyboard is going to be a mess, so let's get back to you when our hands are washed. You know, so you can be really funny and engaging with the way that you leave these messages. Remember, with the one that says the instant greeting when they first come to your page, 70% of people will never go back to your page once they like it. So it's really important to capture the right message when they first come to your page. Speaking of page, I preach about Facebook advertisements extensively in other workshops that I do, but the reach is not even 2% right now. So every time you post something on Facebook, the reach is actually 0 or maybe 1% if you're not boosting or paying Facebook with advertisements. A lot of people are like, Valentina, then what's the purpose of doing Facebook if no one's seeing our post? You know, so it's very discouraging, but there's things that you can do to really try to engage with your audiences. So here are some content ideas that I wanted to provide with you. So they say that 40 characters or less are great for headlines when you're posting on Facebook. So keep that in mind. Shorter is better. sweeter. Just keep it to the point when it comes to Facebook. You just make it the message simple. One thing that came out with recently was they want you to engage with your audiences. They talked about this big algorithm change where they're going to put more emphasis on friend and family posts. So we want to make the post as warm and fuzzy as possible. We're not going to show, someone's about to walk in right now. They're hesitating. Okay. But what they did right now is they want you to have poll options, and this is something that just came out in the last quarter or so. So what you can do is you can ask a question, related to whatever you're doing with your business. So for example, you can add an option, you can add a photo or a GIF, how you pronounce it, because people have different ways of pronouncing it. So this is a good way to get people to engage with your page without having to pay Facebook. One thing that people, do, this is one thing that a lot of people know, but I'm going to reiterate it because I don't know how many people know about this. But when you go to your business page, and my business page is Beyond Engagement, I go to the 3 dots here, and I can invite friends to like my page. A lot of people know about this rule. A new one that came out recently was I posted something, I won an award in Kingsport for a local business event. And I can see all the people that are reacting and commenting to this post. And if I were to click how many people liked it, and I go to the next slide, I can actually invite them to like the page. So this is something that came out recently. There's a funny story. I'm obsessed with the Dollar Tree, and a friend of mine said that she shared what is the newspaper called in Jonesboro? I can't remember what the newspaper is called in Jonesboro. But the newspaper in Jonesboro posted about this new Dollar Tree, and I liked it. And as soon as I liked that post, the newspaper sent me an invite to like the page. And I normally don't get invites to like the page from a business, but I thought that was very innovative, so I started doing it. So every post that you have, that you've done, that you've gotten a lot of people seeing it and viewing it, I would go to the amount of people that liked it or reacted to it. And then you can go there and actually invite people to like your page. So I'm going to stop here very quickly and see if there are any questions. I'm going very fast because I want to make sure that I leave enough time for questions. Yes?
Where do you find the poll options?
So that would be in the status update section.
Status? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, right there.
How do you get it to show on the screen, like before, the breakdown? Give them that one.
So yeah, so that you just go to the number of people that liked it, and you can see all this. And actually, you can show a negative. So I have one person who's like, "Stop talking so much, Valentina, about yourself." So I actually so that's good because I like to speak the truth and share things for you guys so you know about things. One person said, "Hide post." So that's already good because then you know exactly what works for you and your audiences. But I thought that was a really innovative tool to get people to like your page without having to pay Facebook. So if there are no more questions, we'll jump into Instagram. I think this is the funniest cartoon I've seen about Instagram. I don't want to block his view here. Those filters. It's hilarious. So, when I talked about your plan, I talk about what you want to do in the different social media platforms. Do you want to engage? Do you want to entertain, inform, or educate? What is the purpose of everything that you do on social media? I have a different voice in every platform. So my business page, I'm sharing tips about what small businesses need. What the latest Facebook thing or Instagram thing is on my business page. On Instagram, I'm posting motivational quotes. I'm posting about Second Harvest because I'm on the board for Second Harvest, or I'm talking about anything that I'm doing locally in the Tri-Cities. On Twitter, what I do is I share stuff that marketers would be interested in, and then on LinkedIn, I share business stuff. So let's talk about Instagram very quickly. 5,000 people Google monthly how to become famous on Instagram. It's hilarious because, people really are trying to become famous. They're trying to become influencers. That's what they're trying to do on Instagram. So I thought this was very, 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 very important to know. 800 million people are monthly active users on Instagram. 500 million people daily. 500 million daily. 300 million stories are seen daily, and we're going to talk about stories. So again, let's go back to the basics. What is your plan for Instagram? What do you want to do? Do you want to, engage with them? How do you want to engage with them? Something is showing up on the screen. How do you want to engage with your Instagram? Do you want to educate, entertain? What do you want to do with it? Do you want to tell a story? A lot of the big thing right now is storytelling on social media. Or do you want to promote a specific product? A lot of people have their bio page and they have their Instagram account locked, private. How do you expect people to find you? How do you expect to get new customers if you have your profile set to private? I don't get that. That's like my little rant. Visuals. There is no excuse with Instagram. You have to have stunning visuals. You have to invest in photography. You have to invest the time in telling a story. One thing that I always preach about is, again, start following, or like on Facebook, start liking your best customers, your biggest advocates, your sponsors, your donors. So whenever they're posting or doing something, you're always engaging with them so they remember you. And finally, be consistent. So one tool that most people don't know about on Instagram is, the thing with Instagram is just like Facebook. Every time you post something, it shows up what's most important, what Instagram thinks is most important. So depending if the person's very viral, if they have a lot of followers, you're not always going to see what you want on Instagram because of the algorithm. So I always, and I have Second Harvest as an example, you saw that. So if you want to make sure you see the posts from these people, you have to turn on notifications. So every time she posts about Second Harvest, or any of my customers or clients are posting, I get a thing on my phone, a vibration, and it's telling me so-and-so is posted on Instagram. So you go to the person's profile, the 3 little dots all the way to the right, and you turn on post notifications. And that's how I make sure that I'm always getting those people's posts on my newsfeed. One thing that you want to think about is that this is a side story. Hopefully you don't mind the story. I read something in Forbes that just gave me an anxiety attack. They say that, 60 to 70% of the clients, the business that you get comes from your current customers. 60 to 70%. We're all talking about, hey, we need to get the new customer, we need to get someone new, but only 5 to 12% of your business is coming from new businesses. So that gave me an anxiety attack. I'm like, how do I keep myself top of mind for my current customers? And so this thing is something that I do. I try to make sure that I be top of mind, so they always think about me when it comes to their social media. So one thing that you want to do, and it might be overwhelming, we have to do always scheduling, is scheduling updates. I use a thing called Hootsuite. There's Buffer. What do you use, Sandy?
Hootsuite.
Yeah, so it just depends what type of person you are, but I use Hootsuite. I've been using it for years. Hoot like the animal, and Suite like, C-suite. So I like to schedule my updates. I took the screenshots. She allowed me to use it, but if someone has their planner set, I can't do this because things change every day on social media. I can't schedule things in the future because things are always updating. But this is someone that took the time, and it's even color-coded. Blog posts, Instagram, Facebook. So this is, talk about motivational goals. This is something to keep in mind. So going a back step, let's talk about your profile. This is my profile on Instagram. People want to do business with people that they like, trust, and what was the other part? Like, trust, and know. You have to build rapport with people. You only have a couple of seconds when you get a notification, which is a little heart there, that someone's following you. And you're like, okay, who's this follower? And you look it up and you're like, oh, she's a wife. Oh, most people are married, right? 50% of people, and then the other half are divorced. She's a mom, so I have kids too. Or I don't have kids. She's a chocolate lab mom. So, I'm a business owner. I'm a board member, so, I have a good heart. And I'm a Gator fan, which is, luckily we're in Virginia, so I won't get stabbed in the parking lot. But, so there's this thing. So when you look at your bio, how can you make your bio, when it comes to the academy, what can you do to really make it look fuzzy and approachable? Maybe you might add some emojis. Maybe you might say you're into you know, where we I don't know, what would be something funny, like we're really into chocolate chip cookies or something. I don't know, like what can you say? In the automotive industry, what can you say to make yourself, because the thing is, a lot of the people at our Instagram are women, so you want more women customers, so how can you make that, how can you really build rapport with someone when they first, you know, look at your profile? So what can you do when it comes to the law firm? I mean, you guys are not on Instagram yet, right? But, you know, what can we do as businesses to really build rapport with what our audience is? So that's something to consider. So whether they see you because you follow them, or the next thing we're going to be talking about is search. So a lot of people, I think it was, 100 million people visit this little button every day, the magnifying glass. 100 million, and this is probably a dated number already. So what can you do to be found by new audiences? So I love this example from a real estate person. They provide the content in the post. This is a split screen here, but he's talking about the property he's selling, and then in the comments section, he comes up with all these hashtags. And I'll be talking about hashtags in a second, but when you think about your Instagram, you have to provide as much information as possible, because people are still going to message you. Let's say you're having an event, like the Food City thing. When is it? When you clearly said it was Saturday. Where is it going to be? At Food City. You just said that. Okay, but still, people are still messaging you. And what is this about? Oh, it's the Junior League food drive. So, you know, so the thing is that they, you know, you have to provide as much content as possible. You'll still get messages about the most random things that you already provided. But then also, I always advise you, and I've listened to a lot of Instagram gurus, they suggest adding the hashtags in the comments section. So you have your caption, and then you open it up and do a comment, and you add your hashtags there. Like I said, we'll talk about hashtags in a second. So stories. These are things on the top side of your Instagram when you first open it. They disappear in 24 hours. As a business owner and as a person that likes to track insight, I love going to the story side and looking at each one of the stories, all the pictures, and I can actually see who's actually seeing my stories. And this is my biggest rant, another rant, other than setting your thing to private and unlocking to make it public. I'm going to pause because this is so important. I'm going to get into my little rant. People that never like my posts on Instagram see my story, and I can see who's seeing my story. So the people that are seeing my story, they're not like, you know, they're not engaging with it, but they're seeing it, and those people never like my stuff. So that's like the thing that just blows my mind, seriously. So back to hashtags. You want to have, they suggest if you don't have 500 followers yet, to use all 30 hashtags that you can potentially use. So what would be good hashtags? You guys are in Abingdon, right? Okay, so that would be, how many Abingdons are there? Let's just say Abingdon, VA. As you can see, I just typed in Abingdon, and you can see all the stuff that shows up there. As a matter of fact, you can actually go here, and you can see all the top posts. So the whole purpose of doing and you can actually follow hashtags that use Abingdon VA. The whole purpose of using all the hashtags that you can is to really spend time and get found. So what happens when you search for Abingdon VA, it shows you the top 9 posts. So these are people that are always posting, they're consistent, they use a lot of hashtags, they have a lot of followers. And that's the whole purpose. The whole goal is to be in the top 9. So people find you easily when they're searching for it. Because the thing is, let's admit, I'm bored with the people I'm following already. I want to see new things. I want to see, that's why I'm probably the 100 million people that touch this button every day. Because I'm always trying to get motivated and excited about new things. But you can also show up in the most recent. So I was looking up, someone told me, someone had a flu recently, and she's like, I lived off of the bone marrow, or is it bone broth soup from the White Birch, that place. I don't know who's been to the White Birch place. Yeah, see, I was about to go there before I came here, but I stopped to get a cup of coffee instead. But they told me, and this is them right here, that that's the best soup ever. And they are doing a great job with their social media, specifically their Instagram. If you want to look at them for motivation, I suggest doing that. But what happens here is that you really want to make sure that you get seen on the top. So that's why you incorporate these hashtags. I never even heard about this place. This is called The Channels. I don't even know where that is, but supposedly it's like right around here, not too far from here. So I'm discovering new things. I'm motivated to try a new restaurant, to go hiking somewhere else. I think this is a real estate person, but you know, like, see those sort of things. So what do you want to do with hashtags? So they say that if you don't have 500 followers yet, to use all 30 hashtags. And I'll talk about hashtags just in a second here. But if you have enough followers, just to use 8 to 12 hashtags. So they recommend, and I don't have a chalkboard here, the acronym CLEAP. So the lady that was doing an Instagram presentation was using a hiking expo, hiking as the topic. But C stands for category, so hashtag hiking. L would be location, so let's say we're in the Smoky Mountains, we're in Abingdon, Virginia, so L would be location. E is for emotion, so what do you feel when you're doing whatever you're doing? And I would think, you know, if you're hiking, you're hashtag at peace. The other E is for event, so let's say you're at a conference or doing something, a special event, so hashtag whatever the event is called. And then the P would be product, so what do you do when you're hiking? You use hiking boots. So these are just some ideas to think about when you use your hashtags. Another one that I keep saying is obsessed with or something obsessed. So coffee obsessed or love, using the word love. So think about what can you use as a hashtag. So location, that would be a great one. What do you feel, your slogan, your motto? Think of those things when it comes to hashtags. And like I said, what you want to do is when you get there, you're searching for things, you just come up with ideas and you start following other hashtags. So what I do is, let's say I'm following the White Birch Place. So I look at their thing and then I see all the hashtags that they're using in their stuff. So I incorporate them. What I do with my hashtags, every time I post something, I go on my iPhone, I go to the notes section and I have all the hashtags there. So I just copy and paste it onto the comments section. So I don't have to think about what hashtags I'm going to use, and I already have it all up there. And if anything, you can come up with them and email it to yourself and then copy and paste it and put it in the notes. So I highly encourage doing that when it comes to hashtagging your posts. One thing that I saw in the story that's very important, very useful, is you can use your hashtags on your post. You can use up to 8 hashtags. You really want to get a lot of people to see your stuff on Instagram and find you, add your if you want to disclose your location, if you're a brick and mortar, or if you're, you know, like Second Harvest, add your location. I recently went to an event and I had, you know, maybe the same people always liking and seeing my stuff, but I added my location and I got 100 more views from more people in the Johnson City area when I added my location that I was in Johnson City. So start adding your location. Start adding hashtags onto yours. And then the new thing is start adding the GIFs. Those are really funny when you incorporate them. When you do your post, you can do a story. Remember, a lot of people, and this is probably another thing that I'm going to do like a long pause, a lot of people are spending more time in their stories in the news feed. So that kind of gives you, you know, a more motivation to do both at the same time. So keep that in mind when you're doing your Instagram. So let's do a checklist, because I feel like this can be paralysis analysis, or whatever the term is. You're probably getting a lot of information right now, so let's just take it back 2 steps here. So let's have a checklist. Choose your audience. Really think about who are your customers, who are your potential customers, who do people that you want to work with or partner with. Start following them, start liking their page, start following them on Instagram. Schedule your posts, like actually have some sort of, you know, if you're going to post a motivational quote, if you're going to post something informative, if you're going to post about your event, try to keep that scheduled. Cultivate relationships. So now that you know how to do that, start engaging with other people. I always use this example of there's a Vietnamese restaurant in Gray, Tennessee. And I'm not into Vietnamese food, but I'm now obsessed with it. Because the person that runs the place, he always takes the time to look at my Instagram and like my posts and comment, and he's liking my Kind's posts. And, you know, so he's always taking the time to do that every day, and that keeps me top of mind. So whenever I actually have the luxury of having a date night, I go there. and I get my fill of so-fa, whatever you want to pronounce it. So one apps that I can't live without when it comes to Facebook, a lot of people use the Facebook, a lot of people use the Business Pages app, so every time I'm liking, commenting, or receiving notifications or messages, I'm replying as my business Beyond Engagement versus Valentina. Facebook ads. We didn't talk about Facebook ads, but you saw the difference between the two workshops. But the Facebook ads, if you're doing something on Facebook, and like again, Facebook you have to pay to play, but if you want to start an ad or boost something, you can always stop it or pause it, or actually you get insights that says you're spending 10 cents less if you reach 25 to 35-year-olds. Like you get this sort of data from Facebook. Hootsuite, remember we talked about scheduling your updates. I love using Hootsuite. Now, with everything when it comes to social media, you have to have the right images. I personally invest in using Canva. I don't know how to use Photoshop. You're probably laughing at this because you're like a graphic designer, like this is like above you. But I love using Canva. It gets the job done, it's quick. I use the paid version, but there's like a 7-day free trial, I think. So that's something you consider. If you really want to get your images to look stunning and pretty, start using Canva if you can. Instagram, this is super important. So remember I told you about that Forbes article that gave me an anxiety attack? What I did was, as soon as I read that article, I sent 3 boxes of chocolate to my favorite clients in the area that like chocolate, obviously. I have my chocolate done on truffles. They're a place in Kingsport, and all the net proceeds go to children's causes. So I did that, and as soon as I did that, one of them is a photographer, and she posted on Instagram. And boom, as soon as I did that, I did like a share, so I did the repost. And that's the app Repost. And I reposted that. It's a 2-for-1 deal. 1, you have something to post for the day. 2, that person gets a little pat in the back because I'm sharing her stuff to my followers. So I love using the Repost app. There's a lot of things like WordSwag where you can add a picture and text within the image. One thing, if you want to do, a lot of people are doing videos. So if you have like 7 or 8 good pictures, I would recommend using the Ripple app. And then with that, it's like a video of still shots. And then you can add fonts flying all over the place and having a call to action that takes them to your website or whatever your call to action is. So I love using Ripple. Again, Hootsuite, supposedly, I haven't done it myself, has made things easier for doing scheduling updates with Instagram as well. So I have one more minute left because I want to make sure I get to the point. I want you to think about this. This is your homework on top of everything else I just threw at you. Only I or only we ... So what is it that you guys do? What is it that the chiropractor does that no other chiropractor does in Abingdon? What does your law firm do that other law firms don't do? What does your security business do that others don't do? What does your chamber do that the other chamber next door doesn't do? Only I or only we ... So if you want the slides, I have information about the advertising policies when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. And I also have advertising specs, so you know how much limit there is to text and how much the picture should have this or that. I can email you the slides so you can get more information about that. But I want to leave it to questions because a lot of things that I talked about are very detail oriented. So if you have any questions, I would love for you to reach out to me. If you don't get a chance to answer, if I don't get to answer your question, you can reach out to me privately as well. So, questions?
Get back to your phone number.
My phone number? And like I said, I have my business cards right here too. I'm going to just do that. I'm going to just pass it around. Questions? Josie, you look like you're about to ask a question.
I'm trying to think of what to ask, honestly.
What's the most common mistake that you see your customers or businesses make when it comes to their social media?
They're not consistent, and that's one of the things I preach about the most. Because the thing is, let's say you set up a Facebook and you haven't posted anything in 3 days or 3 weeks. People are like, well, what happened to them? Are they still in business? So they're not consistent. They're not on top of things, and something that really bugs me because people look at those things. They say that 57% of people already have an informed decision before they reach out to you about buying from you. So they've done all their research already before they've even reached out to you. So how can you get that person to close the sale with you? Yes.
To more easily maintain that consistency. Say I'm like super busy, and I just don't feel that I can come up with a quality post every single day or every other day. Is there a good way to provide a filler that I can just schedule and be like, man, I don't have time to come up with a post. Let me get in my B-roll here and just throw something out.
Yeah.
What's a good source of filler?
So, like, for example, when I schedule things, let's say I do something on Hootsuite, I do motivational quotes. I do trending articles, so I'm always, if you look at my Beyond Engagement page on Facebook, I'm posting stuff from Social Media Today, Social Media Examiner, Marketing Props, because there's always something coming up with social media. In your case, it would be showcasing the work that you've done. Like, I'm assuming you probably went to the Addy Awards this past weekend, so you can show off that you were there, what you learned from it, whatever you did, if you were a contender or not, those sort of things. But what's going on, what are you doing, What else, if you've been to a new restaurant? I don't always, sales pitch, I talk about other businesses as well. But it's just, it's what feels good to you. I'm a very pushy person. I try to motivate my people, so I'm always doing motivational quotes because it is what I am. So it just depends on what your audience, what you are, and what you want to give your audiences. Yeah.
Can you post too much?
Yeah, I try not to post too much, so maybe on Instagram, maybe twice a day at most, and usually it's just once a day.
And do you have a certain time during the?
Oh goodness, Sandy, I love her. She has the best questions in the world. I didn't share that with you today, but there's a way to look at your Facebook and see when most people are active on your page, that there's data. If you go to the settings, insights, in the insights you can see what day of the week, what time of the day, when are most people on your page. There's also audience insights. If you go to audience insights on your Facebook, you can see how many are women, what type of purchases they do. I see a lot of people that like my page have graduate degrees and spend a lot of money in food and drinks. Maybe because they're foodies like me, I don't know. But so you can really look at the data, and that helps you when it comes to posting. So if I know that most of the people that like my page are women, then I'm going to use women-oriented visuals. I'm going to even change my font and make it more rounded, like a woman's body. That sounds weird, but that's kind of what it is. But yeah, I talk to graphic designers. But yeah, make the fonts like round and bubbly and stuff. So that's a great question. I noticed that I get more traction depending on what platform, but Instagram is better during the week because on weekends people have lives where they're not checking their Instagram as much. But that's a great question. And then I always say Sunday nights are really good, but then because everyone's catching up on gossip and what's the end of the week, so people are looking at what other people have done over the weekend. So I like doing Sundays as well. But I also have a lot of success on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, you have to split test, you have to do A/B testing, you have to see what works, do the same type of ad or same type of visual and just change things up, maybe add an emoji or reword it in a different way and see which one works best for you.
And I know I like to mix it up between verbiage, then maybe the next one or the fifth one, have like a photo.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then customize the photo with the logo and a comment.
Exactly. Yes.
On Instagram, when you see that someone new is following your page, do you usually track that? And if so, do you instantly go back and like them back, or what is your take?
I don't usually like them back unless it's someone that I know or really find out. That's why I really preach. You saw I spend much time on the bio page because it's really important to get that right. It's that first impression. It's like when they first come to your store, do you have like the little cutesy plants and succulents? I'm obsessed with succulents, so I have succulents in a lot of my pictures. So do you have that warm, inviting, fuzzy feeling when they come to your Instagram? And that's why I say I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I have a pet, I'm obsessed with the gators, so people feel a lot of things when they go to my bio page. But like I said, I always keep track of my metrics, but I always make sure that if it's someone that's relevant to me, then I will follow them back. Yes. Someone had a question, yes?
Is Hootsuite the tool that would help, for instance, in planning out his week or month
Yeah.
for auto posting.
Exactly.
So that he doesn't have to take, there's a lot of efficiency of sitting down for an hour, you can knock out, days and days and days of posts.
That's what I do. That's what I was saying in the beginning of the class. Friday afternoons are my downtime, and that's when I go over all the breaking social media stuff, all my emails about social media updates, and that's when I go on Friday afternoons and I schedule all the stuff that's breaking this week. Like this happened on Instagram, this happened on Facebook, this happened on LinkedIn, so I just schedule those puppies out. But then I always have to change it because something else changes between that time.
Hootsuite have the same capabilities of like if then that tool that will
I know.
post to
Yes.
everything at
Yes.
one time.
Yeah, it's
Does
just
that have that capability?
that's you can just schedule with what platform you want to do, and that's it.
Okay.
So you can go up to 3 for free. Last time I checked, three different platforms. Yeah.
I know I do the church that I go to, I do our Facebook page, and if I've got a few hours, I'll go ahead and schedule the whole month right on the Facebook app on the page. which
Exactly.
helps tremendously, mixing the pictures and the scriptures or whatever's happening, and that helps. That way
Mhm.
you don't have that burden, gotta do something today.
I know.
And
I
you get
know.
caught up, if you don't have that calendar, oh man, I forgot to post anything.
Exactly. Yes.
So do you have a separate personal Instagram page for your personal life and your business?
I would recommend that if, like, for example, you guys would have a different one for the academy versus your personal. I have a business and I have little ones, so I try to do it all. Like my Instagram and my Twitter is just one account, and I talk about both things. Yeah.
We have a separate
Yeah.
Instagram for the school, but you have, in order to manage it, you have to toggle it with your personal.
Yeah, switch.
and
I
so
switch it
it's-
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I manage the social
I
media for my clients.
wasn't able to, I think I tried to use the repost app and I don't know.
You can't repost private accounts. That's the big
Well,
thing.
we're not a private account. I don't know.
It was glitchy like the last 2 weeks, FYI, because I tried reposting stuff and it wasn't working as well. But you can't repost private accounts. Just keep that
Oh,
in
but
mind.
other person is private.
Yeah.
I see, yes.
Exactly, and most people are private because they're like, they have little kids and they don't want anyone to see that. But I have a business, so I don't have anything, mine has to be public. That's why I never post pictures of my kids. No one knows I have kids. That's why I always say I have kids, yes.
Have you found a way to switch a site over from a individual site to a business site?
Yeah, so you can switch your Instagram to a business one.
Facebook.
Yes, so you can, are you talking about Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook is what I'm talking about. We had started, whoever started our Facebook originally started as an individual person.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then now it's grown, obviously, so switching it to a business Facebook, it seems to be difficult, so.
Yeah, you can link multiple pages into one, but that's trickier, yeah, definitely.
Did they create a page off of their personal page?
No, but they set it up as a personal page. They set up about 7 pages. So I've consolidated those, but it is a business page. So it causes some challenges, right?
Yeah.
With what we can do, and we have to try to do some workaround, which we've done, but still it takes a lot of time.
Oh my goodness. Well, you definitely deserve 2 cookies today, because you do a lot of work, because I can tell, because I see your stuff on my Facebook news feed. So you guys are doing a great job with your Facebook. I can tell you that.
William, I can see you putting pictures up of a happy customer or telling a story or sharing that, there's this, the customer was having this issue with a electronic that it was tough to find, and you all were able to snoop it out or showcase your employees out back. Because I know for myself, when I'm purchasing anything, I'm going to the internet and I'm also looking at their social media just to see a little bit more that you don't see from a website is canned. A Facebook or social media post is more, you learn more to me about the business than.
Exactly, because I even saw statistics, 62% of people trust people's social media versus their advertising. 62%, I just read that the other day. So that's just something to think about, is your story. What can you say in your social media? What can you translate it to a story, with your customers?
Especially if you tag a customer in a post, then they're going to see it and they're going to share it.
Exactly.
And that's where you get that one post starts getting legs, and more legs.
Yes, it's crawling away, yeah. If there's no more questions, there's a way to reach out to me. Like I said, that's the traditional way. That's the other way, the more modern way. I have my business cards. I really encourage you, if you really want the slides, to email me and I'll send it to you. I'll do a Dropbox link because I don't want to bombard your email, but that's something you want to do. But I encourage questions if you want to reach out to me.
We got an online question.
Yes.
Our friend David McLeish wants to know which works better, pictures, short videos, or slideshows?
I would recommend doing pictures or videos, or if you can do a video of multiple pictures. I do a Facebook ad with one of my clients. He's obsessed with the 7 to 8 pictures you can do, and they just rotate, and they see a video of pictures. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming out for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Valentina, appreciate
Thank you.
it. Next week is alternative stress relief. Does anybody not have stress in their life? But hope you can come back and join us. You can't beat the rate. And again, thank you so much for taking your time to come and share something. I learned several things today, so thank
Yay,
you.
perfect, good.
So what's the stress relief?
All right, your thingy's there, don't forget. Yes.